Welcome everybody to another episode of the Cannabis Review. Thanks very much to everybody for joining us. I am delighted to be joined on this episode by Pia Marten. She is the co-founder and CEO of Cannovum AG over in Germany. Pia, how are you keeping? Are you well?
Yes, I'm doing great. Happy to be here today.
Delighted to have you on. You're a lady making a lot of news in Europe at the moment. Can you maybe give the guys a little overview of how you got to Cannovum and your journey in the industry so far?
Yeah, sure, no problem. My name is Pia Marten. I'm the CEO and co-founder of the Cannovum AG, and we want to provide patients in Germany and Europe with medical cannabis. So our vision is that every patient deserves the best therapy. And cannabis as a medicine, or cannabis in general, I think is a highly stigmatized topic here in Germany. And during my studies abroad in the Netherlands, for example, I was surprised by how different the approach from society was there regarding cannabis. And it was much more accepted there than it is here. So when medical cannabis got legalized here in Germany in 2017, I knew I wanted to work in this industry, in this field, you know. And after conducting intensive research about medical benefits, talking to doctors and patients, I was really touched by their stories. And I always wanted to do something meaningful. The current state of knowledge is that cannabis can really heal, but it can improve patients' quality of life. So our Federal Institute for Drugs and Medical Products, also called BfArM, they're running a non-interventional survey for cannabis, and they track indications and improvements. And the typical patient, for example, is a chronic pain patient, mostly over 50 years old, and has been in chronic pain for more than 10 years, mostly. And with medical cannabis as a medicine, those patients can be helped. Quality of life can be improved. It can't heal, but it can improve patients' quality of life, which is really important. And yes, so what I've learned about cannabis as a medicine, it's the potential it has for patients hasn't been fully used yet or fully developed yet. So we need to improve access to medical cannabis for patients. And we want to provide medical cannabis that is sunlight grown and free of chemical pesticides. So I founded the company with my co-founder, Marius Kose, in 2019 to do exactly that. So why sunlight grown and free of chemical pesticides? I think a sustainable approach is very important. So before I worked at Cannovum, I worked in the field of renewable energy. So therefore, I see a lot of similarity between the industries, and sustainability is very important to me. So therefore, we founded Cannovum with a different approach than our competitors. So we want to provide medical cannabis that is sunlight grown and free of chemical pesticides. Because after all, cannabis is a plant, it needs light and water. And I think that's the best approach in that industry.
Okay, well, I'm going to skip to the third topic and we can come back to the second because we kind of led into it, and that's Europe's supply chain. You're just talking about sunlight grown flower, no pesticides. We had Heidi Whitman on a couple of days ago on the show, and again, a similar model. Do you have your flower grown in a specific part of the world that allows for the sunlight to be grown, or what territory is your supply coming into Europe from?
I can't say exactly from where, but it's the European Union. And we sourced probably over 50 or talked to over 50 cultivators worldwide to source our products. We're not vertically integrated, but we work with the best in the industry. That's our approach. And
I think that's the best approach.
Yes, and we found a partner that is growing medical cannabis under all the regulations up to our quality standards. So without chemical pesticides and in sunlight. So it's from the European Union, yes.
So do you see then one of the next kind of lead-ons that there is a certain amount of companies that are going to focus on the price per gram, and it's going to be grown in one of the Latin American countries or in Africa? Do you see the farming ability in Europe, which is far more advanced than most territories in the world? Do you see that being a leg up for Europe, for being able to supply the whole continent of Europe with Europe-grown cannabis? Or do you always see that there's going to be a balance of the supply chain coming into Europe from far-off countries and grown locally?
Well, I think there are two aspects to it. First of all, importing from within the European Union to Germany, for example, is much easier than doing it from third-party countries. So the regulatory aspect is one. But I agree with you. In Europe, we see a lot of cultivation right now. A lot of cultivators are entering the market with high-quality product. So I see that the European Union probably could satisfy the demand here within the European Union. But obviously, other countries with preferable cultivation conditions like Africa, South America, will also have good products, probably with a lower price, that will enter the market. But the regulation
The
regarding
GMP certification.
it's much more demanding. You need to be EU GMP certified in order to export to the European Union or to Germany. So not everyone is meeting the demand yet. COVID might also be a reason. During COVID, less inspections have been conducted all over the world. So this might delay it a bit. But obviously, other cultivators from other countries will enter the market as well.
Yeah, I see as well that I was reading recently that some of the first grown cannabis grown in Germany has hit the German market via pharmacy, some grown by Aurora and one of the other companies. So that's a pretty good milestone to be able to say that we've got our own flower on our own shelves for our own consumers. And I think the Europe could end up going that direction, that certain countries are going to have certain genetics and strains that are relative to maybe, let's say, the diseases or the patients that they're aiming to treat in each individual country. Whereas I think America is going to focus more on just, it'll be weed to get high and weed as a commercial adult use product. Whereas I think Europe, you could have a far more nuanced industry with individual genetics and strains. Kind of brings me on to the next topic I wanted to talk to you about. Is Germany good for cannabis startups? Do you see this being one of the hubs? We've talked to the Malta Enterprise Board already. We know Ireland is one of the main hubs for a lot of the big, huge global companies. Do you think Germany is going to be a hub for some of the cannabis startups in Europe?
Well, as you mentioned, we have the first German cannabis on the market now. So I think this is a pretty big milestone for the whole industry, the European industry, and Germany being the biggest market in it. And therefore, I think, yes, it's a good place for cannabis startups. But I think there are two aspects to consider here. Once you have the medical side, the patients, the physicians, and we have many more patients in Germany than physicians who prescribe cannabis as a medicine. And unfortunately, cannabis and the endocannabinoid system are rarely part of pharmaceutical medical education. That's something we need to work on. And we support physicians and pharmacists through medical education. We offer workshops and an online platform that offers education on that end. And the other part is the regulatory side, getting all the pharmaceutical licenses. You need a narcotics license, you need a distribution license. We also have the manufacturing license in order to build important steps here in Germany and bring the best products to our patients. The market is therefore really complex with high entry barriers, which is obviously good for the companies that are already in the market. But I see Germany as a really potential market here in Germany, because if you look at the German market, it's the biggest one in Europe, as I said. And if you look at the numbers a bit, in 2020, I think more than 128,000 patients were treated. In 2017, when it was legalized, there were only 27,000. So that's a lot more. And according to Prohibition Partners, more than 1 million German patients will have access to medical cannabis by 2024, which it's a huge step in development. And medical cannabis market alone, I think, is expected to be worth around 7.7 billion by 2028. So I think we will see great development, and the German and European market has great potential, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Germany is going to be the model for Europe, that what happens there is going to be distributed across the continent just for, as I said, size of market, the skilled labor workforce there that, you know, products coming out are going to be to the highest of global standards. So yeah, it's exciting times to be in Germany. And you guys recently listed on the Berlin and Hamburg stock exchanges. So again, congratulations on that. What are the plans for the next 12 to 24 months that you'd like to tick off your, if you had a dream cannabis list of, give me 2 items to tick off in the next 12 months, what are they going to be?
Oh, well, I mean, one big milestone was listing, as you mentioned right now. We got first listed in Düsseldorf. That was a huge milestone we've been working on for a while now. But obviously, we have a lot more future plans, and we want to bring our own sustainable brand into the market. This will be the next big step and huge milestone for us. And obviously, we see ourselves not just as a German Berlin company, but as a European company. Therefore, we are looking into different markets as well, and really looking closely on the developments there, and probably will be soon in other markets as well.
Well, we look forward to seeing your products over in Ireland. For anybody who wants to learn more about Cannovum, you can check out the website down below. Pia, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. I hope we can get to chat before the end of the year is out, and maybe we get to meet in person at one of the conferences that are happening around the world. So have a great day, and thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your time. It was a pleasure, and hope to talk to you soon. Bye.
See you next time, guys. Bye.